And I'm here at the Samsung booth at HIMSS with an old contact and colleague, Ray. How are you?
I am fantastic. Thank you so much for stopping by.
Well, thanks for connecting. And Samsung SDS might just be the best kept secret, not secret, in the industry. Of course, everyone knows Samsung. But how do you describe Samsung SDS and its mission in healthcare?
It's a great question. So one of the items that we're really focused on is not only the distribution aspect of our devices. So customers stop by and say, hey, how can I buy your device? What's a great, avenue? And SDS is actually one of the distributors for Samsung Electronics.
Right.
So we're engaged with CDWs and the Insights and, everybody else on, in that resale side. And so we're really engaged with those folks to make sure that they can supply those devices directly to the hospitals or the doctor's offices, any of that. But more so than that, we really pride ourselves on our ability to help our clients be able to maybe port over maybe an iOS application that they've been using that they really need on Android. And we're really focused on even the DeX platform. And I know that you've seen DeX, the evolution of DeX for many, many years. And that's one of the areas that we see some really great growth on, because you're able to use these devices in a completely different way. We're moving PCs and figuring out, that you can just walk around on a one-to-one relationship with a mobile phone, and that's tied to the nurse. And so we're trying to help, those clients and those customers be able to be more engaged with their patients in a one-to-one relationship that's really mobile and really friendly.
That's fantastic. Of course, healthcare systems are in need of a massive refresh, and you're much more than a value-added reseller. You really solve problems. Talk about how you work with your customers on their most pressing tech IT challenges.
Absolutely. So, they might sit there and say, hey, we have nursing carts and we need to make sure that, it's actually pretty expensive to have a nursing cart and a PC and some of the equipment that's going on. And so being able to work backwards from that and say, okay, what devices are important to you? Is it a tablet or a phone? Should we put a case on it? How are you cleaning these devices from patient to patient? One of the areas that I think is really important is we had a hospital that was using tablets for a check-in. And so they were giving a tablet to one patient and then turning around and giving it to the next patient. And as you can imagine, the first patient was probably taking a picture of their driver's license or maybe their insurance card. And if that information, gets transferred over to the second patient, that's PHI. That's a violation. So we actually created an application called Data Sweeper. And in that Data Sweeper, it removes all the information that's that PHI, and it puts that tablet back into a native state, right? It doesn't remove the application that's important, but it just removes the information that first patient put in. And so even in the keyboard, like if you've ever used, a keyboard and you started typing out maybe an email address or a phone number, maybe this is in check-in at a hotel, and you notice that somebody else's name comes up. Imagine if that happened at a hospital. It'd be a really bad situation. And so that Data Sweeper is able to remove that information from patient to patient and make sure the hospital is secure. So we're deploying that application as an example in many environments, making sure that everybody's safe.
That's amazing. And of course, you don't just have access to all the internal resources and products and solutions and apps in Samsung. You can bring together and interoperate third-party components to deliver solutions. Maybe talk about your vision for this year. What are you focused on, and what's top of mind to your customers, I guess, as well?
It's an amazing question. So, it's how that connected experience happens, right? In the patient room, you have, a patient TV, you have displays, you have a lot of different interaction points of trying to explain to the patient maybe what's going on. The amazing platform that Google and Samsung has been working on is Google XR. And so imagine being able to distract a patient during a really, cumbersome procedure let's see, the burn unit, right?
Yeah, tough one.
And so, you're going through and you're having the nurse clean your wounds. And so ironically, maybe your skin has lost its nerve endings, but your brain still remembers. And so as you're seeing kind of what's going on, your brain is reacting to what's happening there. So imagine if you're able to put that patient into a distractive, situation, a really calming environment, maybe even a game. And so now they're not thinking about what's happening to their body. They're actually just thinking about what's happening in the headset and hearing the music.
Wow.
And so being able to distract them during that time frame. And that's, not the only thing. You might be going in for, blood therapy, and you're sitting in that chair and going through dialysis. And typically in a dialysis room, it's not an individual experience. You're in a room, maybe 6 or 7 or 8 or 10 chairs, and it's not a fun experience. And so imagine being able to distract them as well through that experience. And so now you have relief, and your brain is somewhere else, and so you've kind of been transported into an amazing area. And so we really see what's happening with Google XR as an amazing opportunity to have more of an engagement with that patient.
That's so cool. I know Samsung's connections to health and wellness and healthcare goes so deep. Even in Korea, I think Samsung runs hospitals.
They do.
So it must be very gratifying to be part of an organization that's committed to health, wellness, healthcare, have so much R&D and investment.
Absolutely. I mean, we've been working on this one Samsung approach in multiple different verticals, and healthcare is a great example of that. We have so many teams that are so dedicated both on research, but then also, making sure that the products and services make a lot of sense to, our patients and our customers. But also we want to make sure that we're working backwards, and we're saying, okay, tell us what's happening with your patient. Tell us how we can help you and really solve the problems that are on the front line. You have a great point where we do own hospitals and hotels and, so many things in Korea. And that does help with the messaging and understanding on what's going on in the healthcare space. But that's not the only impact, right? That's not the only way that we take information in. We take information in from our customers and making sure that we understand what's going on.
Wow, it must be very gratifying to be part of a organization that's on leading edge on tech and IT and devices, and also tech for good.
Absolutely.
With a soul. So well done. Have a great HIMSS.
No, thank you so much for stopping by. Really great to see you again. I love seeing you at CES. I was happy that we were able to do this.
Likewise.
As well.
That's what HIMSS is all about, connecting and collaborating. Okay, take care.
Thank you.